Police in Canada are responsible for far many deaths of civilians than is oftentimes assumed. In 2017, there were at least 65 police-involved deaths in the Canadian context, and in 2018, there were at least 59 people who died through interactions with police. And these are merely estimates, base numbers arrived at through media records and accounts of the oversight agencies in specific provinces where there are oversight agencies. And 2019 is shaping up to be another deadly year of police-involved deaths in the Canadian context. In the first quarter of 2019 so far, there are more than a dozen people who have died through interactions with police. And we can say a few things about some of those cases. On January 2nd, Devlin Kyle Nyando was shot and killed by Edmonton police, a 26-year-old Indigenous man. On January 11th, Chad Williams, a 26-year-old, was shot and killed by Winnipeg police. On January 31st, Greg Ritchie, an Ojibwe man from Saugeen First Nation, was shot and killed by Ottawa police while experiencing mental distress. The killer cops in this case, the cops responsible, have been identified, which is rare in the Canadian context, as Than Tran and Daniel Vincelette. Tran is a repeat offender, having been involved in a previous case from a few years prior. On February 23rd, Winnipeg police shot and killed Mashwar Madut, who was a migrant from South Sudan, who was also experiencing mental distress. And on February 24th, a man was shot and died in New Westminster, British Columbia, an event involving the New Westminster Police and the RCMP. Again, that victim was experiencing mental distress. So there have been at least 13 police-involved deaths so far in the first quarter of 2019, and again, this is only a baseline number because there is no formal, systematic process for documenting and stating publicly the details involving police-involved deaths in the Canadian context, and that includes releasing information about the officers involved. So it's very difficult for community members and family members to know about repeat offenders on the streets, repeat offense officers on the streets in their communities, as was the case with the officer Tran, who was involved in the killing of Greg Ritchie in Ottawa.